If people are looking at your PowerPoint presentation, then they're not looking at the most important thing in the room. You! Let me show you how to put yourself right in the middle of your presentation. How did songs from long ago come up? What was the context, though? Hi, I'm Billy Davis. I'm a lawyer who spent years defending clients in business and industry from lawsuits. I teach management and employees the skills they need to mitigate a company's litigation risk, and sometimes I do that by video conference. So I decided to make a series of videos to explain how you can set yourself up to look great on video conference calls when you make calls with Zoom, Teams, Skype, or similar types of platforms. Last week I released a video on how you can make great eye contact with your virtual audience and read from notes without them ever knowing that you're reading from notes. Today we're going to talk about how you can do a presentation just like this. How you can look like a weatherman. Put yourself right in the middle of your presentation so that you can highlight key data, but at the same time your audience can keep its attention on the most important thing in the room, you. In order to do this, we're going to need a couple of pieces of equipment. The first being a green screen, and the second being a free piece of software called OBS Studio. Let's talk about how that works. Now, I know there are some deeply held convictions about how to put a PowerPoint presentation together, and I don't want to get too far in the weeds on that. Let me just tell you that I prefer a minimalist approach. And it's not my approach. This is an approach that I've adopted, having had an opportunity over the years to observe some really great speakers and to learn from them. I tend to use my slides for emphasis, and I also use them to convey information that's difficult to say in words. For example, a photograph. You know the saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words? It's much easier to show the audience your photograph rather than talk about what it looks like. Now, if you're the kind of person who likes to fill up slides with text in a PowerPoint presentation, then this type of presentation probably isn't going to work for you because you're going to need some space on your slides in order to put yourself into the presentation. I would ask you to ask yourself this question. Do you really need all of those words? Consider your audience. They've come to see you speak live. They want to hear what you have to say. If they could simply read about it, then they wouldn't be there in the first place. So if you like the way that this presentation format looks and you think it could be useful to you, then let me show you how I do it. OBS Studio is free software that you can download off the internet. I've put a link to it below this video. Now let me give you a quick disclaimer. There are many fantastic things that OBS can do, and I'm not going to teach you about them. I'm only going to focus on the few steps you need to follow in order to use OBS to put yourself in the middle of your presentations. While this is the most technical video I've ever produced, please don't be shy about using new software. I promise you it's only a few steps, and I'm sure that you can do it. Let me tell you quickly how OBS works. Once it's installed on your desktop or laptop, OBS receives the data from your webcam and processes it before it sends it along to whatever video conference software you're using, such as Zoom, Teams, etc. When you go into your video conferencing software to select the camera, you'll actually select OBS. It appears as what's known as a virtual camera. So essentially it becomes a new camera on your computer. It's helpful, I guess, to think of OBS as sitting between your webcam and your video conferencing software. Okay, so let's install OBS. Just click the link below and it'll take you to a web page where you can download the software. When you're at the page, go ahead and select your system and it'll begin downloading. Now, if your camera is not already plugged into your system or if it's not integrated into your laptop, make sure you plug your camera in. And now I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen so that I can walk you through specifically how to install and configure this software. When it's done downloading, open the file. Now that we've installed OBS, we'll just go ahead and launch it. Once OBS is launched, the first thing we'll do is click, I will only be using the virtual camera, since that's what we'll be using it for. OBS will then determine the appropriate configurations for your system. You'll just click Apply Settings. The next thing we're going to do is set up your camera. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and maximize the OBS window. Then you'll see down here at the bottom toward the left is a section that's labeled Sources. If you'll click the plus sign, it'll bring up another window, and if you select Video Capture Device, that will allow you to select a camera. Now, the next window that pops up will allow you to name it. I'm going to call mine My Camera. Then click OK. Then a new window will pop up, and you'll use this drop down to select your camera. I have several. I'm going to select my Logitech StreamCam. There I am. Then you'll click OK. And there I am. Now this large black rectangle that you see in OBS is the area that the viewers will see when you're streaming your presentation. You notice that my camera is smaller than that, but I can click on it and drag it to make myself any size that I want on that area. The rest of this black area is where we're going to put the presentation. Obviously, when you make your PowerPoint, you're going to need to design it with some blank space off to one of the sides so that you can insert yourself on top of it and you won't be standing or appearing over any of the text or pictures that you're trying to show to your audience. So the next thing we'll want to set up is our microphone. You'll go back down to the Sources section in the lower left-hand side, click the plus sign, and this time you're going to select Audio Input Capture from the menu that pops up. You can name it whatever you want. I'll call it my microphone. Then click OK. And then you'll select your microphone from the box. Now I'm using my Yeti to record this, so I'm going to select the StreamCam microphone and click OK. Now I will say, if you're using your laptop for this, the microphone is probably built in. If you're using a built-in microphone, please watch my earlier videos about microphones. You really owe it to yourself to invest in a decent external microphone. It'll really improve your sound. So now the next thing that we're going to do is put the PowerPoint presentation into the large black area here. In order to do that, we'll need to make sure that our PowerPoint presentation is open. I have mine open here and I'll select it. And then we need to configure the PowerPoint presentation so that it will run in a window. In order to do that, select the Slideshow tab at the top and then select Set Up Slideshow. In the window that pops up, you'll select in the upper left-hand corner, it says Show Type. You'll select Browsed by an Individual, which says Windowed. Click that button and then click OK. And now start your slideshow from the beginning. Then you can go ahead and alter the size of this window. And now we'll go back to OBS and we're going to import that window into this background. And we'll do that once again by going to Sources here at the bottom, clicking on the plus sign, and we'll select in the window that pops up, Window Capture. Once again, we can name it whatever we want in the window that pops up. I'll call this my PowerPoint. Then click OK. Now, in the window that pops up, you can use the drop down here to select from various windows. Just in case it doesn't select your PowerPoint presentation by default, you can select the other open windows on your desktop. In this case, it selected it, so I'll just click OK. And now you see it's appeared here, but it's not quite the right size for this large rectangle. So what we're going to do is grab the edges and resize it so that it will fill up the rectangle. There we go. Okay, now you're probably wondering what happened to the camera. Well, in order to put it on top, we'll need to go back down here to the Sources section. And we'll go to My Camera and right-click on it. And you'll notice in the menu that pops up, there's a selection called Order. That refers to the order in which the camera appears relative to other things we've loaded into OBS. And so we'll just select over here, move to the top, and there I am. Now we can move this window over to where we want it. I designed this presentation in order to have my face in the lower right-hand corner. So you can see I've left some open space here. So when I drag the window over, I'm not covering up any of the text. And this is something that you've seen commonly. This is sort of the typical picture-in-picture that we're all familiar with. But we can do better than this. We can remove the green screen background from behind me, and that'll make it look like just my face appears over the presentation. So in order to do that last step, we're going to go back to the Sources section, and we're going to right-click on My Camera. And then right here toward the bottom in the menu that pops up, you'll see Filters. We'll click on Filters. That'll open a new window. Over here on the left side, you'll see Audio Video Filters. We're not going to use that. Just below it, though, you'll see Effect Filters. Under Effect Filters, you'll click the plus sign. And then you'll have the option to choose what's called Chroma Key. That's the industry term for removing a solid background color. So select Chroma Key. You can give it a name if you like. I'm just going to click OK. And now you can see already, if you look over here on the right-hand side, you can see that my PowerPoint presentation is showing through. You'll need to adjust these sliders a bit in order to get it So the background disappears. There we go. Now the green background is gone behind me, so I'll just go ahead and click close. And there I am, projected right in front of my PowerPoint presentation. Now I can click through the slides and my image will remain down here so the audience can see both me with the presentation just dynamically behind me. Now in that zoomed in presentation, I was seated at my desk with the green screen behind me, but I've done exactly the same thing with OBS for this presentation. The only difference is I'm in a larger room, the camera's further away from me, and I'm standing in front of a floor-to-ceiling green screen. Hi there, Billy. Okay, well that'll wrap up this video. If you have any questions about it, please leave them in the comments below. I love to read the comments and I'll be sure and answer you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please remember to click the subscribe button so you can be notified anytime I release a new video. And if you're watching this on LinkedIn, I've put a link to my YouTube page just below this video. Click on it and you can subscribe there. Now next week, I'll be starting a new series giving some tips on public speaking. So if you have an upcoming court appearance or sales pitch or big presentation, I hope there might be some information in there that'll be helpful to you. Until then, stay happy, my friends.